so we could call the meeting to order. Public comment, the board takes public comment on issues and concerns not on the regular agenda at this time. Public comment form must be submitted to the board liaison prior to the time of the meeting. Is scheduled to begin. Public input on a regular agenda item will be taken at its appropriate discussion. Citizens should speak from the lectern, address all comments to the dais, begin by stating their names and address or single member district number, limit their remarks to less than 3 minutes. Any public comment?
Yeah, I don't think we have general public comment.
No general.
So we do have introductions to make.
Okay.
First is we have a new board member, Sarah Mattis. She's nominated by Karen Hesse Smith, single member District 5, and she was appointed by council like one or two meetings ago. So she's starting her first term. There may be more. And if you want to say anything, you can.
I'm happy to be here and be a part of this board. Thank you.
And then some staff introductions. Y'all may recall Barbara Stallworth, she got promoted to deputy city clerk. So, and then we hired Dana Rodriguez as our administrative assistant senior over here in the corner where y'all signed in. And then I'm thinking, I think we already introduced Sidney Walker. He's our city civic events manager. He's also interested in all things parks and recreation, so he's kind of doing a little cross training. And then I think I'll know Marcus, and then I'll turn it over.
Yes, in the back, I don't think he was ready for me to have to introduce him, but we have Coach Sam back here, Jimmy Samaniego. He's helping us out at the complex and with youth sports. He's mainly going to really help us build out some things at the complex to basically have another set of experienced hands. Has a lot of experience with sports side with ISD coaching and running different events. He's been helping us out with tournaments, but also, for example, we're going to be in basketball season. Well, we're about to start up also having practices open back up at the complex and adult league. So just having another set of eyes out there and having another adult on our team who can kind of help out and be a leader out there at the different functions we have going on, especially when we have things going on simultaneously.
That's all.
Okay. Moving on to the consent agenda, consider approving the November 5th, 2025 meeting minutes. Give you a chance to review those, and then we'll have a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion to approve the consent agenda as it stands.
Anyone second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Moving on to the regular agenda, discuss and consider a new story walk for Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial Park. Recommend any related matters.
A few meetings ago, or maybe it was last meeting, we talked about story walks. So our experience has been both good and bad. Bad in that some of the ones that were established weren't maintained well, and you saw images of that at the last meeting. So the current ones we have is one at Kirby Community Park on the north side, Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial Park, Firefighters Memorial City Park, in the Red Arroyo. That one we talked about basically relocating it to be placed around the walkway at Unidad Park. These are images of the one at MLK Park we talked about last time. So the direction we're going to go is remove this one that's around the interior park walkway and consider a new one. And the one to be considered is at the the courts at the park along the fence. You see the court that's fairly recently been repainted. And they would go along the fence. I'd have to say that Sally Myers here, and she probably wants to speak to the item. She's been great to work with. The story walk that they proposed at City Park, they helped cover the cost and everything. We helped it install it. It did have some issues, but she stepped in and fixed it as quickly as she could, and it's back in order. So I'm pretty confident they'll take care of them. The arrangement will be basically, the city's not gonna maintain them, but if you're gonna maintain them, we'll keep them in the parks. And that's maintaining the sign structure and the storage signs themselves. So when we talk about the list, we're gonna remove the one at Kirby Community Park. We're gonna consider the new one at MLK Park. The one at City Park is good to go, and then we're gonna relocate one from Red Arroyo to Unidad Park, working with the other group. Is it the Junior League?
United Way.
United Way. So Sally, if you... Craig?
Yeah.
He likes to speak.
I'm not the best looking or the smartest one, but I do what she says. I just wanted to give you a little bit of background because this is not a one and done thing. Sally and I worked in the neighborhood revitalization that focused on the 4 areas, and in particular Blackshear, which did a residential rehabilitation that got awards from all over the state. It's really been something that's special. But in the meantime, the areas along MLK Drive have been sort of neglected, and that's the business corridor there. And this has been something that's happened item by item for the last 20 years. Sally and I were chair of the MLK committee program that put up the arch in MLK. We're life members of NAACP that worked so hard to get the restroom in MLK. We're on the board of the Dunbar Library restoration that's been done up there, and we have worked in a lot of different ways. And Sally's been the children's librarian down at the library for 30 years and has worked with the children all through the community, but she's also worked with authors and illustrators throughout the country who's come in here and worked for us. And one thing about we're trying to restore the historical sense of the MLK Drive for business and as a center for the community. And we're also working with the Looping Us Together that did the item on the 19th Street and MLK Drive, which was a proof of concept of murals. And by the 1st of March, we should have the really big one up that's on the end of the gateway to MLK off the ramp, and that's something large. And so this is not a one and done. What we're trying to do is do something that works with establishing a remembrance of the history, because it has a unique history. It's the segregated community that for 50 years was there, and it had some remarkable things there. They have an excellent history of athletics. When school athletics were segregated, they won the state championship in football, and they had Ben Kelly and Carl Ray Johnson and people like this are well known in terms of athletics from there. And so what we're trying to do is with the murals, get some historical sense of the people and the things that are going on, and then with other things to add to it. And the sense of history kind of went together, and this is the book that we wanted to do the story work. It's about the Harlem Globetrotters, which has probably the beginning of the really serious establishment of basketball as something that's happened in the black community that's done well. Also, the funding will be totally taken care of, working with the organizations I mentioned, MLK Committee, the Dunbar Library possibly, and NAACP and all of these. We have some funding resources as well as individuals, and we ourselves will participate in it. And the total amount will be something like $2,200. The first mural was $3,000, and the one that's going on looping us together is going to be $35,000, and that's totally paid for. So the city would not be out anything except for the fact that Carl's been really good, because we're not as skilled as he is and his people are at installing the things so that they're not like this. And so this is an excellent resource. The illustrator here is a nationally known illustrator, and he's been here twice with us. We've sponsored him, and he's done a lot of work with the children here. And the lady is an award-winning author as well. And so we think this will be, it's not a single item. It's a part of a continuing thing that's been going on for 20 years, and we're looking for more things to happen in the future, and I'd answer any questions if you have them.
I have a question. Do the stories change out, or do they stay?
No, this
It
one
stays.
and this one at City Park that we did is going to be permanent. And we've found, like at the City Park, that the turnover of kids of the age that would be interested, it doesn't wear out. You've got different kids going there all the time. And this will probably deal with a little older age group than that. It will have probably older elementary kids and adolescent kids who use the basketball court a whole lot. And it's, like I say, it's been redone up there, and it's really something special for the community. Anything else?
And I believe there's going to be 22 individual signs?
Let me see, I can tell by looking at the last page that, put my glasses on so I'm legal to drive, and,
Are you asking how many signs there will be?
Yeah.
22.
22.
Okay.
Thank you.
And then what are the pages actually set into?
There's a new material. We had the first ones down at the City Park was metal, and the sun warped it, so we went and got another one, and it's something special. It's a composition. It's really strong composition, but it withstands heat and weather, and so that's what it'll be made of.
And then Parks is going to install it?
Oh, yes.
Yep, we'll install it and kind of oversee that it's still maintained, and we'll keep an eye on it for you guys, so.
Yeah, and if there's any, the other one has been up there for 3 or 4 years, and 5 years, and there was absolutely no vandalism, not a single thing, and we didn't have to worry about that. But if there is a need, we'll be responsible for replacing or repairing.
What is the expected lifespan of them?
They say about 15, 16 years.
Oh,
This one was 5 years that we did, but it was because of the material that it had to be replaced.
and also, what are the dimensions of it? What will it look like when it's going around the court? Is it going to be taking up a lot
It'll
of
be
the
an
fence,
absolute replication of, this is what it'll look like.
Right, but how large?
18 by 22.
18 by 22, okay. Okay,
Yeah, 18 inches by
I'll speak
22
up.
inches.
18 by 22. All right, I'm good.
Anything? Thank you.
Any other questions or comments on this? You wanted to vote on this?
It would be good to get a recommendation.
Vote on approving the story walk at Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial Park. Those in favor?
Did we just, do we have discussion, or do we need any? I just,
And
sorry. So just to clarify, so they, the city's only responsible for doing the general maintenance once they're installed, is that right?
So we're just basically keeping an eye on it. If there is any vandalism or they get destroyed, we would report that back to them and they'd be responsible for replacing or repairing.
Right. And where, so I didn't understand this, where is it that we already have an example of this installed?
City Park, Firefighters Memorial Park.
Okay, great. I'll stop by there and look at it.
So who's responsible for determining when they're ready to come down? Is it the city that decides that, or is it them that decides that?
Well, similar to the discussion we had a meeting or two ago about the other ones that have passed their
Prime.
their time. We had a discussion about it at that meeting, and
Oh,
so
okay,
there are a couple that are coming down. One's being moved and two are coming down.
okay.
And this is not what it's gonna look like, right?
What? This?
No.
This is not an example of what's being moved.
No, this is an example of it's coming down.
Right. 'Cause that's not a 15-year installation for sure.
No. I don't remember how long it was there, but yeah, just the way it was created, it wasn't really secure from water and the elements. But again, going back to the one at City Park, we did have an issue with that one. They stepped in, got it fixed as quickly as they could with a new material, which hopefully should last a bit longer. And that's the same material they would use for this one.
Yeah, it's a great idea, and I really, applaud people for taking this on. I just don't want it something that 2 years from now looks like.
I agree. And if we have an issue and they're not on top of it, then we'll bring it back.
Thank you.
So we have to make the nomination, right? Or
Motion,
make
a motion.
Motion to approve.
Yeah, any other comment? Motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
To approve.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Thank you.
Next, discuss and consider child age life preservers self-serve loan program sponsored by Shandon Hospital at Lake Nasworthy and recommend any related matters.
So we have a new proposal, an interesting new idea, and we'll let the proponents speak to it.
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Jamie Harden. This is Amy Coates. We are from Shannon. Amy is over our Trauma Services Department, and I run our Safe Kids San Angelo program, which for those of you who aren't familiar with what that is, this is a program that is dedicated to childhood injury prevention. So I do everything from child passenger safety to home safety, fire safety, but a big focus of ours right now, especially with where we live and the water that surrounds us, is water safety and drowning prevention. So I've been in this position almost 7 years, and from the very beginning, this has been kind of my dream, right? So I've been exploring lots of these around the country, even around the world, and wanted to bring to you what we are talking about. So this is a life jacket loaner station, and we met with Carl and a couple other gentlemen, gosh, it's been a few months now, and presented our idea and wanted to share it with you. But this would be a station, not specifically this is just an example, but this would be placed out at Marylee Beach at Nasworthy, where we see a lot of activity and a lot of children, unfortunately, going in the water who should be wearing life jackets that are not because they don't have access to them. So this is an opportunity for them to approach the station, grab the correct life jacket. We will have ample signage of how to fit it properly. Also, for liability reasons, we'll have, adult supervision is required, and wear your life jacket at your own risk. So that covers Shannon and the city as well. So lots of signage. So this is kind of what it would look like. We have a local company, C&D Roofing and Reconstruction, who just happens to be my husband, who has offered to build the station and work with the city on, specs and all of that, sizing, weather, material, all the considerations that we need to make with where we live. But we did talk to Carl and his team and figured out a good spot at Mary Lee Beach where we could have this thing. As far as timeline, in a perfect world, we would like to have this built by March of 2026, with it operating when the season opens, and from my understanding is Easter to Memorial Day, and then locked during the off-season. As far as maintenance and servicing, which is a big part of the conversation that Carl and us had, the Safe Kids San Angelo has a coalition of agencies that we work with. So it would be myself checking constantly, weekly during the summer months, and then people on my coalition as well will participate in checking the jackets, making sure, they're still there, they're working properly, nothing's broken, all of that good stuff. It was suggested during that meeting to reach out to Nasworthy HOA. I actually ran into her last week and spoke with her. She's the gal that I spoke with is willing to talk to the HOA members and see if this is something that they would be wanting to, willing to check the station if I made a call and needed it checked. Or she also suggested the road lizards. I always get that wrong. But this is a community running group that actually starts their run at Mary Lee Beach. So she was like, I bet they would be more than happy to check the stock whenever you needed it checked. So during the peak season, May through August, the station will be checked weekly. Mainly by me, I'm assuming in the first few months, but again, I have lots of coalition members that can help me. And then in March, April, and September, those quieter months, it would just be on as-needed basis. And then again, it would be locked during the off-season. We will stamp the jackets, so quick, where the jackets will come from. Safe Kids puts on, and Shannon puts on, a yearly life jacket event in June every year, and we give away 250 to 300 life jackets. So I have lots of extras, usually, that we can stock this thing with, but we also will hold kind of a used life jacket drive in certain locations. We haven't really walked through all the details on that, but we can ask the community to give us their used life jackets if their kiddos have outgrown them. So I don't see, as far as inventory-wise, Safe Kids and Shannon will be able to stock this. The biggest question, and probably our legal team asked, was what about stolen jackets and vandalism and things like that. So we really talked through the attrition rate, and when I was researching, like I said, there's hundreds of these across the country that are doing very well. The attrition rate really comes down to the maintenance of that station, how often it's being checked. If it's neglected and forgotten about, it's, people are going to take advantage of it. But really, as far as Safe Kids and Shannon, we will make a big public push to educate the public that this is a service, a borrowing service. You borrow it and then you return it. They'll also be stamped with, not necessarily this specifically, but it will say, loaner life jacket, please borrow and return when you're finished. And we really think, and I've seen across the country, if it's branded, people are less likely to take it because they don't want to be seen with it outside of Nasworthy. So it will look something similar to that. And then as far as kind of long-term, if it's successful and we're seeing kiddos use it, we talked about possible other locations at Nasworthy and then also along the Concho River as well. In a perfect world, if Twin Buttes ever were to get water again, I would love to have one out there as well. But this is, Mary Lee Beach is where, a high volume of kiddos go, families go, who are in need of life jackets. So these are just a few examples, like I said. we'll work with, obviously the construction company and the city as well on what materials we need to use, weather conditions we need to consider, and all of that. But these are just some examples that are across the country. So this is my contact information if anybody needs to reach me, but I'm happy to answer any questions that y'all have. Did I forget anything? Okay.
And just to clarify, this is at the lake, so it wouldn't be our parks guys who would oversee its upkeep along with them. So it'd be lake operations. And basically, this first one would be in view of the lake maintenance shop out there at the lake.
I was just wondering, where would people, if they wanted to donate a life jacket, could y'all put like an extra, like a donation box?
Yes,
right next to
absolutely.
it?
And so our initial thought process was when we have our big life jacket event where we give away 250, 300 life jackets, we can, somehow include, hey, please bring your old life jackets. And I mean, we see families every year come literally every year. So I know they're outgrowing those that we've already provided them. So we'll make a big push to, within the community to bring it not only to that event, but we're thinking we could have it probably at our campuses, at South and at the main campus. I'm not sure what that would look like because our hospitals are packed to the core right now. But there's other agencies that I work with, DPS, TxDOT, maybe SAPD, the fire department would probably be willing to help us as well. So we can have drop box locations. We just need to kind of work through what that would look like.
Right.
And then make sure that we market that to the public and ask for their donations. Yes.
Oh, is this still part of RAC?
No.
Not RAC funded? Yeah, not part of the RAC program that we used to do.
Yes.
Yes.
So Danny Updike is still
Yeah,
our executive
yeah,
director.
yeah.
He still has been providing us with the infant life jackets. They've kind of stepped away just because it was difficult to distribute to the region. So that is always an option if we needed it, but over the past several years, we have used local people that have donated.
Right.
We've used the Children's Miracle Network. Trauma services, we've actually budgeted specifically for this year. So we have a lot of options. I am so sorry.
Oh, sorry.
We could hear
Did
you.
you hear me? Okay. I'm so sorry.
Do you want me to repeat that? And then we did a few years back, we worked with Family Power Sports who actually donated quite a bit of life jackets. However, it's not just, we don't just want to have infant and child and teen life jackets. There's a lot of adults who probably should be wearing one as well. So we'll have adult life jackets as well, not in the quantities that we'll have for the kids, but I think that's an important thing to have out there too. A big push for me as far as safety is if your parents are doing it, your kids are more likely to do it, kind of like the seatbelt. So if your parent struggles in the water, we should encourage them to be wearing a life jacket too.
And is there a system in place for if, replenishing in the middle of the season or anything like that?
Yeah, so like I said, our inventory isn't like enormous, but what we're looking at right now, at least for the first year or two, we're good on quantities. Now, if we're seeing a bunch of them stolen and taken and vandalized or, ripped apart, whatever, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But there is funding available as far as from Safe Kids, from Shannon, from other donors that we work with, where we could probably ask them to provide. I know, again, Family Power Sports is a big partner with our summer safety event, so I bet we could probably approach them for something like that. But, go ahead.
But as Heather shared, the RAC is always an option. It's something that we've been able to maintain without the help, but the Regional Advisory Council has grant money that comes in, and Texas is split up into RACs if you have not ever heard of it. Some people haven't. And what it is we even had, like today, we had our Trauma and Injury Prevention Care Committee. So we have a monthly call. We have a group of committee members, and we talk about items we need. So do we need Stop the Bleed training? Do we need Stop the Bleed kits? Do we need life jackets? Do we need fall prevention items, et cetera? So that is definitely another avenue if we realize that there is just a high level of vandalism or stealing or something like that, that's another avenue we can explore if we need to.
Will there be record keeping for when the life vests are checked?
Yeah, so as far as, what I will do weekly in those busy summer months, it'll just be a, checklist of what our inventory is, the status of it, what's still there, are any removed that aren't properly working, or were any taken or not returned. So that will be something that I will keep record of and would be happy to share that with you all, maybe on a monthly basis. But absolutely, we just need that for our numbers too, to see where we're at.
If there's gonna be requests made to outside people, organizations, will there be a minimum requirement for knowledge training on checking life jackets?
Yeah, so anyone who is able and willing to check the station, it's really just, yes, it would be a very brief, this is what you're looking for. We're looking for broken straps, broken buckles, all that kind of stuff. Number-wise, they're going to be able to see if there was 5 infants and now there's 2. Okay, we got to replace 3. But as far as like pulling the ones that are no longer functional, I will walk them through what that kind of needs to look like. And if they ever have a question, they can certainly reach out to me directly, and I'll go out there and look myself and make sure that it's still good to go.
And you could probably make a video too that you could send them to.
Yeah, there's lots of stuff online. Even when we have our summer safety event, we have our nurses come out and it's like, I don't know how to fit a life jacket. I'm like, it's very simple. It's just 3 little steps. So it's kind of one of those things. But as far as, we just want to make sure that, again, there's no straps that are broken or buckles that are missing and things like that.
We also have student groups that might be able to help with a social media campaign or those videos. So we could probably do that as a way of helping through ASU as well.
Yeah, that would be awesome. And again, the most successful stations that I've come across the country is because they partnered with those people in the community. They made those public. Even I do a lot of stuff on local news, segments on that. We can talk about what this is, what it looks like, the purpose of it, that this is a borrow and return program. So there's lots of ways that we can push this out in community. Social media would be a great way to do that. Yes.
And then our team had also talked about having a QR code on the station. So if there is an immediate issue that, like, let's say me as a mom walks up, I have no idea, I can see all the signage, but I see that like a door's hanging off or there's life jackets all over the ground. They can send a QR code and it'll alert our team, and they can just give a quick, this is what we see. And they don't even have to worry about, like, I don't know what the email, phone number. That way it can go, we have an email that we can link it to that alerts multiple members. So if I'm out of town, she's out of town, the next one in line can get it.
So, thank you very much for volunteering to do this service. My big concern with all these is the maintenance tail on the end, and so that, it's exciting and new. Everything's gonna go fine the first year, so I guess this tags on with questions that Alicia had. So, this is gonna be, the operations is gonna be owned by Kids Safe San Angelo, right?
Yes.
Okay, and do you have, like, I don't know, what's the structure you have there to guarantee that you're gonna have the checklist written, and that, there's a duty roster, and that, that...
Yeah.
I don't know anything about
and
your
again,
operation.
we're still kind of looking through what's out there and what's successful. So as far as like the station itself...
It's not the station itself I'm worried about. Does Kids Safe San Angelo normally operate in, a function that's similar to this, where you do this every year, it requires this, you've got, tell me about something about how you, ensure that you complete the duties that you're taking on to maintain and operate this. Does that make sense? I mean, I'm sorry, I don't know, I know like
No, you're
nothing
good.
about kids.
So
safe
trauma
settings.
services, like our department that we work with, where Safe Kids works with trauma services, it's a requirement by the state for injury prevention. And so to answer your question, this project specifically is not like we have to do it, but we've identified a need, we've identified that this is something that our community can do for injury prevention, and that's why we're doing it to maintain it. But it'll be maintained with her position is a core position on the trauma team, and then our trauma services team, we have to continue this injury prevention. So I hope that answers in a way, like this project will be started, but the maintenance will stay, let's say even if we're gone in 5 years, which I hope not, but then that would be maintained with the expectation of that injury prevention project.
Yeah, 'cause it's pretty simple to write the checklist for how you check the stuff, but then, you know, the bureaucracy to maintain it, make sure it's happening, I mean, that's where we generally fall down in these things.
Yeah, no, and I mean, I do the same, when a huge part of my job is car seat safety, so I have a whole checklist and all of that. So, I mean, this isn't something that's going to be astronomical to record or maintain, I don't foresee. And again, Texas requires us to.
I mean, if you asked this board to do that, it wouldn't happen, because we don't, you know, I mean, that's not what we do. We don't like do.
No,
regular
we're not
maintenance
asking you to do
operation.
any of that.
I understand that, but I'm asking about your organization. Does it, and I guess if I understood, I'm sorry, I don't remember everybody's name. You said this is tied to a operational program in emergency services, right?
Yeah, so Shannon is designated as a trauma center with the state of Texas.
Right.
And part of that is injury prevention. And so like the designation level, they'll come in and they want to know projects we do through the year. So things like car seat safety, when we do our water safety event, when we do Stop the Bleed training, this ties into something that we're very passionate about. And like Jamie shared, we've been passionate about it for several years, but just now as our team is growing and the possibility is there, it is tied to something that is required with our program. Again, not this project specifically, but something we're very passionate about that I really think our team can
But
maintain.
can you like officially tie it to your water safety program so that
Absolutely.
that comes up every year and says, oh, by the way, right, part of the water safety program,
Yes.
we need to review the checklist,
Absolutely.
make sure we have our roster. I mean, if you did
I
something
see
like
what you're
that,
saying, yes.
if you did something like that, I think it would help to ensure that it has that
Yes.
continuity, right?
And what that'll stay as.
Because that's something that that's a function that happens every year, right?
Yes, sir.
So I would encourage you to do that so that 5 years from now, we still have this great program going. Otherwise,
Absolutely.
when the two of you get tired of it or go away or something, it's just gonna go.
Right. We get asked that a lot. Yeah, the expectation of, okay, what's going to happen if like you leave? Yeah, you leave or something like that. But we can absolutely make that as an expectation. Like this is what the programs have established together. This is the expectation of maintenance.
So
But,
basically, outside of maybe a library, and definitely for you guys, this is a special open to the community loaner program where your people are not being charged. Everybody has access to it. Everybody can use it. And you guys, I think part of what he's trying to ask is you guys don't have anything in place like that already.
For this project?
Not for this project, like that you guys
For any
have run
project.
and operated, that there's
No, they're just giveaways.
just
Like
an
the car
ongoing
seats, the
public
bicycle
loaner
helmets.
program. Like I understand the car seats, but that's a one time a year, supposed to say, one time a year. The life jackets, one time a year. This is gonna be in operation for many months throughout the year, after year after year. And I think what he's trying to get clarification on is you guys just, for certainty, have not done something like that before, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And what we'll do is to tie it into what you're saying, we have committees at the hospital, like our trauma subcommittee, which is a multidisciplinary committee. We can make that a standing item of an annual review, if that's what you're
And I think
asking.
this is an example of, you gave the example that these are effective when they're tied in with, community and other functions. And I think this is a really good example of that. If you don't have an operational, if your organization doesn't have an operational responsibility for ongoing programs, then you have to create all that, right? And it sounds trivial, but it isn't. But if you can tie into somebody that does have that and just hook your little thing on there, and then, because they'll call you and say, hey, you know, it's time to do this, whatever your plan is that says this is the annual review for that, I think that will help a lot. Because otherwise, it'll be a nice thing that 3 years from now it's not happening.
Yes, and I love that because we can tie it in with our trauma services team. We can immediately tie it into those committees and make it a standing maintenance item annually at least, to where even, if we leave, it's a standing item to be reviewed, to continue.
I mean, I do lots of volunteer organizations where if, you know, whoever's responsible calls everybody and tells it that it happens, but without that, without this structure to do it, it just like peters out, right?
Yeah. No, additionally, also, I work with Safe Kids Worldwide, which is obviously a worldwide organization. So we are a segment of that, Safe Kids St. Angelo. So I report to them quarterly as well on what we're doing in our community as far as injury prevention for kids. So that would go up to them as well. And so that's just kind of another, I guess, a way that we would be held accountable to make sure that this is successful and ongoing.
But what you're saying is basically what makes this different than maybe like an Adopt a Spot program where, you know, it's like, hey, it's with good intention, but it's like, all right, am I always going to think about this? Is that y'all's buy-in on this is the trauma prevention aspect of it. Is like, hopefully there's going to be less visits to Shannon because of something like this being in place.
Yeah. So.
Is there another Safe Kids type organization, like in a different city, that maybe you kind of are looking to emulate?
That's where
some of the ideas, like
the
photos.
100. Yes, this was. This has been implemented probably for the last 15, 20 years, all over Safe Kids throughout the country. So a lot of the ones that I showed, Washington State was a lot of those. But yeah, there are hundreds and possibly thousands across the world.
I'm sure there's some best practices that have
Absolutely,
already
yeah,
been
and that's kind of
established.
that's what I started, where I started from.
Yeah.
Is, I'm not reinventing the wheel. Obviously, that doesn't do anybody any good. So I went through all of other Safe Kids and what they've done in the past, what's worked, what hasn't worked. Again, that's where the attrition rates really came from and got us thinking about that side of it.
Maybe once y'all get further, along, like, with the project, you could just maybe come back and share with us, like, kind of, okay, this is the research we found, like, we want to emulate, a combination of these 3 programs that we saw in the state of Washington, that, I don't know, that may kind of ease any concerns.
Yeah, sure. And I will say, I totally get what you're saying. Really, what I've seen across, I would say the majority of them, is that it's that community buy-in. It's getting those partners in your community to say, hey, yes, we want to provide life jackets to these kiddos. This is how we're going to do it. These are the agencies involved. This is what you do. This is what I do. This is what you do. And so that's where the success of it comes, rather than we're just going to put it out there and see what happens.
Go
I'm sorry, go ahead.
From a legal perspective, I don't know what the rules are, but from a legal perspective, the disclaimers, and is there any kind of agreement with the city so that if some kid strangles himself with a life jacket because the parents didn't put it on wrong, then the city is not responsible since that is on city property?
That's a good question. I'll check with the city attorney's office.
So
It's a good question. I'll check with the city attorney's office.
So have you, you just described having an operational plan, this organization, do you have that?
I mean, I can give you what we presented.
I mean, it sounds like you've thought about it, but you haven't written down an operational plan. Is that correct?
We can definitely write it out, kind of step by step. Absolutely. But in addition to your question, as far as liability, if that were to happen, that's where that verbiage comes in that has to be plastered all over that thing.
But is there a signed agreement?
That's what we
Kids,
spoke with
Shannon,
y'all about.
city?
We went through our legal department at Shannon.
Okay.
So if the city needs to work with our legal department, then yes.
How many, just, I think, kind of going back to the operational aspect of it, how many people are there between your committees and your employees and your volunteers, you think, that would be immediately like helping operate this?
How many are on our trauma team?
Just
7?
on our trauma team alone, there's 8 of us.
There's 8 of us on our,
But then that's not any coalition. I mean,
Yeah.
aside from- We
Okay.
are on the coalition, but just our trauma services core team, there's 8 of us and 2 medical directors, but like our 8 would pick up. that,
Right.
And then coalition.
that's
does-
internally with Shannon.
That's just, yeah.
The coalition that I work with and meet with, that are completely bought into all things Safe Kids, I would say there's 15 other agencies.
Oh, okay.
That might be a bit much. We'll go with 10 other agencies that are active and help out wherever and whenever they can. So
Okay.
there's a lot of us. There really is.
Okay, well then it'll be maintained pretty well, I'm sure.
So, Carl, does this have to go through council review, city council? Sorry, not
I don't think
council.
city council,
I don't
but
mean council, I meant legal, sorry.
yes, I think it's a good question. Now, I'll submit the request to review this program and see if there's any liability and if there's any way to mitigate the city's liability if there is any.
Yeah, because I feel more comfortable if we had that. I'd also feel more comfortable if we had the little written operational plan. It's probably like a page or 2 long. It's not,
Okay.
but that, it's because I think one, it'll make you think through everything and make sure you got all your things, say, oh, yeah, we have to do this. And 2, it'll help you tie into the places and ensure that it has legs. I want this to happen.
Yeah.
I just want it to be there 5 years from now.
Yeah, absolutely. We can definitely do that. We can put that together.
Well, and then that operational plan, that could be what we actually run through when we run through our committee on like our internal basis.
Yeah, it's not complicated. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm serious, it's like a page or page and a half long. It says, okay, this is when it's gonna be done. You presented a bunch of the pieces to it, but it doesn't have like the tie into the trauma committee. I'm not sure how much you talked, you said you have the resources, but it doesn't outline where the resources are coming. I mean, you didn't give us that. I don't question that you haven't that you've thought through this, or that you know what you're doing. I just think it's a big difference between doing that, writing it all down, putting in a plan, and then you say, you get a better job someplace and you leave. Well, here's the plan, right? This is what we're gonna do. And it's not just in your mind.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. We can put that together.
Did you want to hold a vote on this, or did you want to table this until we see some type of operational plan?
That's up to y'all. I mean, you could make a motion pending some affirmative review by the city attorney's office and submission of the plan. Or we could revisit it next month. It's up to y'all.
I mean, is there a concern with timeline though? Because they state they want to open,
Yeah, I think they want to get
3
ready
months.
for next spring.
No, this spring.
Oh, yeah, I'm
we-
sorry. Yeah.
So if
It's 2026, this spring.
So if we have something by the next meeting,
Yeah, I don't know that I can get the city attorney's review that quick, but I'm surely they can give us their plan, but
yeah.
I can just ask to expedite it, because we're not asking for an agreement at this point, we're just asking for the liability aspect.
Right.
So I guess, so we can always approve pending council, legal review,
Yes.
because it won't happen if we
Yes.
don't do that.
You
I guess
could.
my question for the committee is, how do you feel about approving pending a submittal of an acceptable operational plan versus having them just tabling it and having come back next month and present it?
My preference would be approve it pending these things.
I think in this.
Okay, so I will
In
move
the
that.
essence of time,
I move that
yes.
we approve this proposal pending a review and approval by the I keep wanting to say council. No, it's
City
council.
attorney.
City attorney, and submittal of an acceptable operational plan from the Kids Safe of San Angelo.
And once they give it to me, I'll share it with y'all. If you have any questions about it, we could revisit it at a following meeting.
That's
If
the
not,
motion.
then
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Next agenda item, hear and discuss an update on the River Parks Master Plan and recommend any related matters.
So since the last meeting back in November, we did take it to council and they awarded the bid to hire SWA Group. And after that, we finalized, negotiated the agreement and the cost and got that approved. So we have an approved agreement with SWA Group. And I met with them early last week online to talk about the schedule, because it's going to take it's a 9-month process. What's the schedule going to be? So they came up with a very rough draft. We met about that. It looks like the first, I'm calling it the steering committee group, the stakeholder group, steering committee group meeting will likely be January 22. And I'm not sure when yet the first public meeting is going to be. There's going to be 3 public meetings. I'm hoping to get that scheduled this week, and once I get that, I'm going to share it with everybody. So that's the update.
Who's on
The steering committee?
steering committee?
I don't have the full list with me.
I mean, just,
It's a mix of city council members, city staff, here we go. Councilmember Harry Thomas, Councilmember Karen Hesse Smith, Heidi Brooks with the Santa Fe Park Commission, Heather, Kat Bunker from the Art Commission, Monica Ramos, Director of Downtown San Angelo, Tim Newton, the curator of the Concho River Legacy Trail, Rick Wise, he's an assistant city manager, Mario Al Torres, the construction manager with the city, Moi, who else? I think that's it. And I'm sorry, there's also a member from the Development Corporation and the TIERS, Tax Increment.
sorry, Development Corporation and,
TIERS, Tax Increment Reinvestment Zone,
okay,
because they help fund this. But I don't have their names.
okay.
And I'm sure we may pick up some folks along the way. That's the update for that item.
Yeah, and then there's I'm assuming there's public input opportunities, is that?
Three public meetings that we've paid for.
Heather, can you keep me updated, please? Thank you.
He wants to be an alternate, keep you from attending.
Well, yeah, I would have been more involved if I had more time earlier, so, yeah.
I'd like to see the city instruct this SWA group to devote some design attention to making these parks a little bit less friendly and, to the homeless people. Like that problem you've got down in the Bosque with the homeless. I mean, if they're instructed to do so, they will, at least.
Well, it's a different subject, but about the homeless. There's a new city group that's forming to address that issue.
Yeah, that's way bigger than a parks issue. But
Yeah,
the
but I was
homeless
talking
coalition is working on that.
I was talking about just the SWA group, devote some design attention to that problem.
Okay.
If they design it a little bit less attractive to homeless, if that can be a design consideration. The city'd have to instruct them to do so,
Understood.
or make a request for that.
Make sure the minutes reflect that request.
Any other comment? Okay. And we didn't need a motion on that, right?
What?
We didn't
No,
need a motion.
no,
Okay.
it's just an update.
All right, so hear and discuss updates on key activities, projects, programs, and events from the Parks and Recreation Divisions.
I actually have two, and one is with Bill. Let's go ahead and cover that one if you want. We've got a new interesting opportunity to do some design work related to the lagoon at Civic League Park as it relates to stormwater runoff, maybe potential reuse of that water, reestablishing the lagoon, kind of at the design level, so.
Yeah, so we have a capstone project every semester for the engineering students. And so the civil engineering one this semester, they're going to work on it. The title is Restoration of the Lagoon at Civic League Park. It's a group of 3 students. They're going to do this for 1 semester, so it's a pretty small scope. Carl is their client for this.
The what?
Yeah. You're the client.
Oh, client.
You're the client for this student group.
I'm not paying them, though.
No, yeah,
Okay.
and they're not getting paid. But I think it should provide a really good conceptual review of what can happen there. Like, for instance, they're not going to redesign the dam. They don't have the skills to redesign the dam. But I think it'll be, as a minimum, we should get a real understanding of the catchment and the inflows and the scope of work that would need to do a restoration there. And hopefully some water reuse information too. So free labor from students who need to do something for their capstone design project.
The other update I had was on the wayfinding project, so it should be kicking off in February. Emily Jane is writing that down to make sure that starts. Okay, who else wants to go next?
Yeah, I'll go first. So, update from Parks. We have transitioned to our fall and winter maintenance, although it doesn't feel like fall or winter. Yeah, we just got done pre-emerging our city parks with some pesticides for the winter weeds. We are now transitioning to post-emergent to hopefully get anything that we missed with the pre-emergent. We are in full swing of trimming trees, cutting back cane on the river, the giant reed that you see that looks like the big bamboo. It's a real nuisance, and we usually tackle that in the wintertime. So we're in the process of doing that right now. We are always, in the hiring mode. We are 7 positions short, which is an upgrade from the 10 that I usually come to you guys with. So that's a good thing. We just finished the Concho Christmas Light Tour that ended on December 31st. I think it was a huge success. I went down with my family, and this year, for some reason, just seemed a lot more bright and vibrant. I don't know if anybody else noticed that, but yeah, it was a really good turnout, and
All the lights were on,
Yes,
even after
yes.
Christmas, like we went one of
Exactly.
the last nights.
But the
and-
snow cannon wasn't working right. I just have to say it's my favorite one, and the sequence wasn't right. Just saying.
Well, the night I went, it seemed all good.
Agreed. So, and of course, we've got a lot of key projects still going on. We've got the storage building at the Texas Bank Sports Complex. We are actually nearing completion on that. The building is fully erect, and we just got a few minor things to finish on that. Update on the shade structure out of the complex. They are actually scheduled to start erecting that in the next 2 weeks. So that'll be. It's been a long time coming on that project.
Where's the shade
It's at the
structure?
Texas Bank Sports Complex near the playground. We went in and poured the concrete footers and did some of the work, the groundwork, and the company that's contracted will come in and erect that structure. So we're finally nearing the end of that as well. Still working with the group that's doing the World War II Memorial Project at Section B. They've been moving along pretty good, and they've got a good open line of communication, so that group has been really good to work with. And as far as, we're still just, regular maintenance. We're still mowing, surprisingly, so.
Thanks. The cleanup on the Riverwalk, the clean out the fountains looks really good.
Yes.
Thank you very much. And I noticed you also did some fallen tree maintenance down there by the lagoon, because I've been down there a lot, so thanks for that too.
So
Bob,
one thing I wanted to update everybody on, go ahead. I'm
Well,
sorry.
on that line, I was going to mention, I talked to Karen Hesse Smith about it. There's a young kid down there on the river that for about the past 6 or 7 days has just been picking up trash voluntarily. And I was hoping he'd get some kind of city recognition. Have you seen him down there? Any of y'all, Mario?
I have not. Where about?
He's between Irving, and he goes probably
Well, you know what? I have seen him. I seen him yesterday, matter of fact, with some trash pickers and a bucket.
Yeah,
I
he
don't
needs to get
know-
some kind of recognition from the city. He's
Yeah,
been down there for 6 or 7 days doing that. I've got his name.
I didn't know if he was working with Chris with the golf course. That's what I assumed. I thought maybe.
I checked with him, he's not doing community service for, he's just doing it on his own. I think
Okay, I did not know that. I seen him yesterday, but like I said, I assumed that Chris with the golf course had hired him, and maybe he was picking up some trash, because he was on the golf course picking up some
Yeah,
trash.
I've got his name and I've got his number somewhere. I'll get it to you or get it to he needs some kind of recognition from the city.
Yeah, awesome. One thing I did want to update everybody on is Kids Kingdom. There have been some social media posts in the recent couple days of some safety concerns that we are aware of. That playground, unfortunately, is getting to the end of its life. That was installed back in 2003, I believe. And the life expectancy on that type of playground is about 20 years. We are well past that now. We had an auditor from the manufacturer come out in 2022 and do a complete audit of that playground, and his notes and report actually reflected what we know, that it's past its life and it needs to be replaced. Over the last several years, we've put Band-Aids on a bullet wound, and we are to the point where, Carl and I have been talking about this internally, but we're at a point where repair is starting to be, these repairs aren't holding up because the structure itself and the foundation is not sound. So we've gone through and rebraced structural integrity on some of that stuff, but we're getting to the point where we're gonna be having to close down parts of that playground, if not the whole thing. We understand there's no funding right now for that project, but those are conversations that we're having internally and trying to figure out what the next step is.
Would it be taped off, or would things be taken down? Like, what is that gonna look like
it
when
depends.
that park starts
Yep.
coming apart?
Yeah, we're to that point. So what we're doing right now is we're going through and replacing lumber where we can. We're replacing composite material where we can, but like I said, like I mentioned, in some of those areas where it's not structurally sound, where we can't screw a screw into this wood anymore because it's so splintered and twisted, we would either A, tape it off, or B, if it's a slide component or something, remove that slide component and block it off with something.
So, my concern is, and I know you guys have to have a bigger discussion about it, but I don't know how to put it nicely. I mean, taping it off is gonna look like junk. At
Sure.
what point does the city just come out and say, unfortunately, we don't have the money to replace it? This park is not safe as a whole. It is all gonna have to come down. Like, when do you just do that instead of just,
But we may get to that point soon. The current thought, one, please reassure us that any safety issues have been addressed and taken care of. As part of this master plan process, is to get that public input and get that discussion going. Hey, it's past its lifetime. It needs to be replaced. So during that process for this master plan, we get folks' input as to what kind of playground do they want, where do they want it. It may not necessarily be at that location, but get that community interest input, and hopefully that
but is
results
it
in
to a
some
point
funding.
it's beyond community interest and it just has to be an executive decision?
Well, yeah, if we get to that point, that, yeah, it's like this, we've got structural posts that are about to collapse, that it is gonna fall apart, then yeah, we can make that executive decision to say.
We can
it's
reassure
closed.
the community at some point, hey, that there's a plan being put in place, but if in the meantime, if needed, we could take the whole thing down and.
But we don't have a plan in place.
We don't have a plan in place, that's exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, so what's the potential to, I mean, if we had a project, what's the timeline for getting it done? It's
But I
like
guess
2 years,
we
right?
gotta be careful, because this specific item isn't on the agenda, we're just doing updates right now.
Right.
But, yeah, if there are any safety hazards, we have the right to come in and say, hey, we
I know,
have
I
to.
guess my concern or whatnot is I would much rather see a park just come down as a whole than just taped off and then
Gotcha.
just left.
Gotcha.
As part of the whole, let's keep the community clean and organized, and let's not just, oh, you can't use it anymore, but it's just gonna have to stay there for a while, like.
Well, we could have a future agenda item just to
Future
talk about this
agenda,
playground.
yeah.
I mean, they've done a recent inspection and audit. We could share that and talk about that and.
Because it's gonna be really bad to shut down the Kids Kingdom, right? Because what it's gonna say to the public is, we don't maintain our parks, we don't know what we're doing, you know, and we're just shutting this damn thing down. And I say that because when I lived in Austin, on the wrong side of I-35, our local park, they came and said, well, these things aren't safe anymore. They just took them all away while they were busy renovating Zilker Park, you know? So that told us, well, we know who you care about, what you don't care about. But this one is like our downtown.
It's the
city park.
crown
So
jewel of the parks.
we absolutely must eliminate the hazards so that it's a safe place to play. And if that recalls tearing it down, recalls tearing it down.
Agreed.
But
At this point.
we
also-
got to know what we're doing in
Sure.
the long term to do that. And if you're talking, this is my question, sorry, I'm getting long way to the question. So we're talking 2 years before anything's really significantly is going to happen at the earliest, right?
We were pretty close to that.
Okay.
Could be this year.
So my question, Mauro, is, can you maintain it in a safe fashion for 2 years?
Yeah, so right now, all the safety issues have been mitigated, so there's currently no safety issues at the park. But we're gonna continue to have to
I've been in your
Band-Aid it.
maintenance shoes, so I understand what I'm asking, but
Right.
the question is, because if we can't,
At this point, we are.
Okay.
Yes.
and you can do that for 2 more years.
I can't answer that question with full
Yeah, I'm not
confidence, but
I'm not
you
going to
know,
come back 2 years from now. And,
yeah,
you know,
at this
throw you away,
point- at this point,
But you think you
yes.
can continue
And we're
to
at that
maintain
point.
it safely for months or a year or 2?
months or a year or 2 is a maybe. If we get to the point where it needs to be shut down, we will definitely make that decision.
Because this needs to be a high priority for no one.
My hope is we can hang on to it another year, 2, go through this plan, get direction, a plan for what's going to replace it, and then work on the funding for that. And if it has to come down entirely in between before we get the funding, that's what we do.
So I have a question. How long does it take for you to establish a plan? Like, I understand because funding takes a long time too, but how long does just getting the plan in place that you want to pursue?
Once we get the input, design work is a few months. If we've got the funding in hand,
Yeah.
right? So design, a few months, review, a few months. This would probably be contracted out, not community built like last time. So we have to bid that out. You're looking at 9 to 12 months.
Right.
Okay.
So it's like 18 months for the current plan. It's another year to build, if you knew it exactly. So it's like 3 years out.
Well, it's 9 months for this. So it's this year for the master plan.
Nice.
Is SWA looking at this?
Yeah.
They're aware of it, yes.
I mean, they're looking at the park, they're looking at the Kids Kingdom.
They have, but I don't know if they know the extent of the issues.
I mean, could that be asked for them to do that, to address maybe come up with a new design for Kids Kingdom?
Well, they're not this is a master plan, it's not a design
Yeah.
plan.
Well, I mean, it's a master plan, but I mean, include that, and then it could, that could stand to the starting point for the final plan.
What we're getting is a master plan out of this. So if they're gonna do more detailed design work, they're capable of doing it.
Yeah.
We'll have to decide at some point whom to hire to do that work. But at least we can come up with a
But they're gonna
conceptual
address
plan.
that. SWA is gonna address Kids Kingdom. I mean, it's gonna be incorporated into
It's within
their
the
plan.
scope of what we're looking at, yeah.
Because we're talking about like $200,000, $500,000 scope, right?
To replace this
For
playground?
Kids
Yeah.
Kingdom?
What?
No?
Kids Kingdom to replace, you're talking at least
Like if
750,000.
you replace it right now, what's like just the scope?
It depends on what you replace it with. And I would highly, I stood here back in 2001, 2002 and said, we're making a mistake going to the playground like this because we're going to have these issues. And we've
Right,
had these
yeah.
issues.
This is not the first
We
wooden
do not
playgrounds.
recommend putting in a playground that's similar to this
Right.
anywhere. Because you'll
I'm just trying to
have,
understand if we're talking about a $100,000 project or a
it
$500,000.
depends on what we do. What the scale of it is, does it include a splash pad? I think that would be a good location for a splash pad. We've got 2 now. This would be a third.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Central. So it's what do you include in it? So it could be the least amount would be $750,000. I'm guessing more like $1.5 million.
Okay.
Just another question. Do you feel like the wood playground really didn't hold up as well as like Unidad lasted, I feel like, less time than Kids Kingdom did before things had to start being replaced? Because it was built around the same time, wasn't it?
The one that we just replaced, it was 1996, I think.
Oh, it was 96.
Yeah.
I didn't realize
It
it
was,
was that old.
it was at the end of its life as well.
Right.
But it's
But they have a comparable timeline.
It
Maybe
is
the wood one
comparable.
has to be maintained a little bit more frequently, but it's very similar.
And it depends how much it's used. Both those parks got a lot
A
of
lot
use.
of use, yeah.
20 years is a typical lifespan of almost any playground. And we're nearing 20 years on more than a handful of playgrounds around the city. So this conversation could be had on a bigger scope, you know. Because
So
there's-
maybe we need to have a future agenda item about how the parks can be better maintained, not in the sense that Parks isn't doing what they're supposed to, but that Parks is being supplied with the funding that they need to make sure that our parks aren't going way to the end.
Just
And then
a-
it's like, oh, shoot,
A
we're
playground,
screwed. Now we
playground
have to-
replacement plan is kind of what you're talking about, and we do currently have a plan in place that's been,
Okay, we've got several
We-
future items here that,
Yeah,
I think we're
I
getting.
sense a future
this is an
item
update
on,
item.
on
That's what I'm saying, is that we.
playground
we have this-
reinvestment.
Okay, we do have a plan for playground replacements. It's not funded yet, but we have a plan for that funding. So that's
it's
something we
very-
can share and discuss with the board as a
Next
future
meeting.
item.
Because
We do have
those are
that.
really important inputs that we can provide to city council and stuff, saying, look, these are, it's important to fund these initiatives in the long term, so we're not, yeah, and actually using Kids Kingdom now as a leverage to point out that issue is helpful, because everybody knows about it, right? So, that would be helpful.
all right, that's my update.
Jesse,
Look what you did, Mario.
I'm pretty sure Mario's updates took up my time, so I don't know.
And Carl, you said today was gonna be short.
I do appreciate the discussion. I do love meetings when there's discussion. But one of the first things Jesse told me was that Kids Kingdom was his favorite playground. I'm going like,
Oh, I hate Kids Kingdom.
I'm like, okay, I guess I'm getting old. Because
As
we
a
built
parent,
it.
it's so difficult to have your child there.
I
mean,
wouldn't-
you cannot see one end to the other.
No,
It
that-
is very fun.
But when you are a kid, it's
Oh,
awesome.
sorry, I
Yes,
didn't get down on
yes,
this
I
rabbit
will
hole.
say yes, it is
It's
weird.
the
But the point
unique
was, he was a
factor.
kid playing on it right after we built it, so.
Dang, Jesse.
Interesting, the
You'll have to take a
generational.
piece of it when it gets
leaps.
to place.
Hey,
Sorry.
that could be a marketing opportunity. I mean, there,
Yes.
we can, we can capitalize on that.
All right, so in recreation news on our side, so right now we're about to start up our youth basketball season. So we have a little over 90 teams signed up for our league. To put that in perspective, that's over 900 kids playing in our youth basketball league. And then here coming up in the month, we have our preseason tournament next week. Registration ends at the end of this week. So if on the low side, which will be way higher than this, if only 20 teams sign up for our preseason tournament, that'd be a few $1,000s in registration, and that's not counting gate fees that we'll charge at the tournament. So it's good for our rec department to have the preseason tournament, and then we'll do the state tournament at the end of the season. Some other things we're working on is trying to get some money for a secondary sanitation system for the pool. The state is wanting that, and the reason being is if you have any spray features where people are going through it, so if you have a water garden that no one's going through, you don't need the secondary sanitation system, but because of spray features that we have at our pool, we need to be able to have that secondary sanitation system. And its purpose being whatever the chlorine doesn't kill, this follow-up UV system can get, or for say your chlorinator goes down overnight, then you have a backup system kind of in place at work. So that's what we're working with a couple of different people who have bidded on it. So it can be done pretty quick. It's just getting money to get it done.
And it wasn't too expensive.
No, we had one bid come in. The high bid was $72,000. Then we found an alternative that was $40,000 for the same equipment. with a company called AquaRec. AquaRec is also able to provide chemicals for us as well, so we might just all around switch companies that we work with. They've recently provided their insurance information for us to be able to make them a vendor, so I'm working on getting that approved as well. They're pretty easy to work with. Also, they were able to give us some insight on some issues we're having with our splash pads. So we have these tubes that come out of our barrels and inject straight into our system for the splash pads. And I was like, man, why are we having buildup going on? And it's because of the chemical reaction of the liquid chlorine with our water right there at the tube. And he says that's why we have that issue of our splash pad system compared to our pool system that uses tabs. So it's we're getting a potential vendor that's going to be a good partner with us. And also going into splash pads, we've more than wrapped up winterization a while back. So we're just kind of waiting for things to warm up. Last year we had a freeze even going into the rodeo season. So we're going to be monitoring and waiting a couple months before we even start putting water in because we don't want any frozen pipes or anything like that happening too early. The process of filling that water reservoir back up would be talking to Mario when it's all right for me to go out there and do that. Make sure there's no watering or anything going on while I'm getting that part done. And then introducing the chlorine, getting all that right and putting up the signs. And then pool, we'll here in the next month or two start trying to hire on our lifeguards, our seasonal pool manager, and assistant pool manager. Currently, we've been taking applicants for a rec coordinator position, have had interviews, so if things work out, we'll have someone starting here soon for our open rec coordinator position. So that would, rec is looking full on the full-time staff side, so it's just seeing how things play out on the seasonal side as we get into the spring and summer months.
That's it?
Anything else?
Date night?
I mean, I didn't want to go too long, but yes, we have we have date night that's going to be in around the 20th of February that week. So it's Monday and Wednesday will be daddy-daughter date night. Tuesday, mother-son. Thursday is family. The thought process that we did with last year with Thursday, instead of it having a meal included in it, is that it would just be like the other 3 nights where it's the DJ, dancing, and activities, and that worked out well for us last year because with the mother-son, we only have 1 day for it, but it's not big enough to warrant a second one. But our daddy-daughter is also huge on both nights, so it's like that family night at the end just allows for us to kind of hit both markets that we're needing to tend to most. And Sid helps us out with that with the McNeese. Our theme is Follow the Yellow Brick Road, so it's like a Wizard of Oz theme. Christina, our rec supervisor, had a meeting with Aurora about the decor and all that this week. We'll be setting up a meeting later this month to meet with civic events and then make sure everything is kind of the way that we want it so that Sid continues to allow us to use that facility in the future. Wink, wink.
I think that's it for updates.
All right. Consider future agenda items for the next meeting on Wednesday, February 4th, 3:30.
So we will have elections for chair and vice chair. We usually do that in February. Probably an update on the River Parks Master Plan. Maybe an update on the Civic League Park Lagoon project.
Yeah, we'll have an update by then because we'll have the scope done by then, right?
The discussion about the playground plan. We'll look at all the playgrounds, their current condition, when they might need to be replaced, and what that cost might be, and possible funding. And then, I don't know if we want to have a separate discussion on Kids Kingdom or tie it in with that. I still have to work on organizing a tour, but let me get past this.
You know what you should do is you should just give us a self-guided tour list like every month of places we should go, and then we just go do them.
Self-guided?
Well, I would love to get together with everybody, go to this park, but it's never gonna happen, so if you said, hey, this month's park is, and then maybe we could just we could
Homework.
text each other and say, hey, who wants to go see this one? Because I started doing that. It's really interesting. So.
Well, I mean,
I don't know, maybe this is just totally off the wall, but has there ever been a Parks Board meeting held
In a
at
park?
a park?
We
Because
can do
Kids
that.
Kingdom could be.
We can do that. There's some caveats doing that because accessibility, we have to make sure it's an accessible
Right.
place. They
I
can
mean,
park,
I
they can
know-
get to.
Yeah.
And these meetings are filmed, so that one wouldn't be. But the short answer is yes, we can. but
I mean, I don't know, just talking to the audiovisual folks, that I don't know what the capabilities are. It's not my wheelhouse, but I just throwing it out there.
But we could
Be a good way to showcase the parks.
we could have a meeting where we walk through a park and then walk to where the meeting was, if it was close enough. Like Kids Kingdom. I mean, is there a place in the annex where we could hold a meeting? We could go like to the park and walk over to the annex and do the meeting
You
there?
go over to the visitor center, there's a.
Oh,
Yeah,
visitor
how about
center.
that? Yeah, we go to the Kids Kingdom and walk over to the visitor center, you know, I mean,
An agenda, I would like to add an agenda item for next time. When they were up there speaking about the life preservers and talked about a QR code that led to basically a quick submission form of, hey, if something's wrong, you can just quick scan this and submit it, it'll go to someone. I would like to discuss something like that for our parks.
To talk about what?
For funding.
When things are wrong.
Or things are
Like,
wrong.
Hey,
When-
like,
when
like,
she-
hey, this is broken. I mean, because,
when she mentioned that, I was thinking about that.
I mean, it kind of goes back to my feeling on the adopt-a-parks. Like, these things are gonna take our community coming together, but we've gotta have things in place to make that possible.
That's a great idea. You know, on the social media post that was put out about Kids Kingdom, it was like, nobody knew how to address it. They were calling after hours, you know, and we don't
Yeah.
get those messages.
I think they tagged the
But
city.
having something,
I mean, because
Austin has that.
who knows if you guys will ever be fully staffed, but even still, to have the expectation
Yeah.
that those parks can be visited every day and every
Yeah.
little thing, I think, I mean, there just needs to be the reality of it. It can't. If you see something, here's how you can say something.
Yeah, there's,
So,
absolutely.
like, so
Okay.
let's,
that's a good
Can't
idea.
discuss it yet, but.
so I
It's a
would
good
like
idea.
that
Yeah.
for next month.
I heard, I don't remember which city it was, but they have an app, and, you know, and you can take a photo of geolocated, you
Yeah.
know, and you can.
Austin
Is Austin doing that?
yeah.
Okay, that's probably what I heard.
This tree fell on the road.
Yeah.
But there is a way to do it, I think, with our city website.
Yeah.
But I think if you
Something.
combine, I think the QR code actually is a little different because actually it's requesting them to do stuff. It's less passive, but maybe the two things together.
Yeah, so if we can put that for
Okay.
next month.
Yeah, because I'll snap a few.
Was there anything else? I mean, we'll have updates too, but. Any other items?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, are we ready for my teaching?